right, good evening, everybody. Good afternoon to my friends, my viewers in the United States and other parts of the world. And good evening to our viewers in Liberia. If you are joining us on YouTube, on Facebook, we say welcome to another segment of Liberia Shah Indeed Rise. We're hearing all the news in Liberia. We're hearing all the drama, all of the unfolding events. We're hearing all of those things. But guess what? We're just going to pick a little piece of that pie, and that's what we're going to focus on today. If you have seen our topic, we are going to be discussing Liberia's recent victory in getting elected to the United Nations Security Council. What does that mean for Liberia? What does that mean for the people of Liberia? What does that mean for the everyday people? What are the pros and the cons? And we're going to be looking at this. And so today we're going to be talking history. We're going to be talking about some of the United Nations events. And we're going to be talking about some things that Liberians tend to gain if it means anything at all. And so to our friends in Liberia, again, we want to apologize. We know exactly what's happening. There are 40 events taking place in the country. We know that protest is probably in the work, and there are a lot of events taking place with, on 40 events. I don't want to touch those events right now. But because of some of those events, we are not able to be live on the radio station in Monrovia today on Freedom FM. But, eventually we will try to see if this program can be relayed at some point in Monrovia. And so, yeah, so basically, let me see here. Yeah, so at some point in time, we'll definitely get all of this program relayed to you guys. But one of the things I want to kind of talk about before we get started, I want to say congratulations to those who are graduating in Liberia. Congratulations to those who are celebrating anniversary. And we want to say thank you to those who have been following us and sharing our broadcast. We say share the broadcast. We may not come here to be flashy with our talks. We may not come here to tell you things that will arouse your emotion, but we come here with informative program that we actually research, that we talk about, program hopefully that will enrich your knowledge and see exactly how well informed you can be. And so we say welcome to Liberia Rise. I am your host, Augustine Sharif, and today Dr. George is not here, so it's going to be a solo broadcast. I got some guys in the background doing that thing. Maybe I will have one or two friends joining me later. But look, I'm super excited about this topic because when it comes to history, when it comes to these kind of little things, that is what I enjoy. I enjoy talking about these things. And maybe I'm just a nerd, someone who enjoy random things, random knowledge. And so we are going to get into it today, guys, and we are going to be having a very good broadcast. But before we do this, I will go ahead and just play a song, that hopefully from our good friend Othello Collins or Hill Liberia. I'll be playing it throughout the broadcast as we go today. So just get ready, share the broadcast. I will come back right here and we'll be discussing the United Nations Security Council. Liberia is elected to this non-permanent seat. What does that mean for Liberia? What are the benefits? What do the people of Liberia stand to benefit? We'll be talking about this. Stay tuned.
Shall long be
right, guys, welcome back to the broadcast. This is Liberia Rise. I am your host today, Augustine Sharif. And today we are discussing Liberia's role on the United Nations Security Council. We just got recently elected to the 2026-2027 United Nations Security Council term. What does that mean for Liberia? How does this all come together? What does Liberia stand to benefit? And most of you, the intellectuals who join this broadcast, you probably have done your homework. You know exactly what Liberia is going to be benefiting. And I have to say I have to say this real quick. A small little West African country that has gone through a bloody civil war for 15 years, of close to that number. We were killing each other, being brutalizing one another and doing horrible things to one another, destroy our country. Our country has not even returned from the destruction that we caused that little country. And all of the things we did. Look, I'm saying we, because we can point finger all we want and say that person, that person, this person took gun, that person brought gun. We supported one way or the other. We all supported the warring factions in the country. Whether you belong to one tribe or another, or whether you belong to one group, one way or the other, all Liberians, we were on board. Whether from the very beginning we were celebrating for change, we wanted this rebel group to come and actually take over the country and just bring us freedom, whether we were dancing in the street calling them freedom fighters, whether we were dancing and singing, you kill my mom, you kill my pa, we'll vote for you. One way or the other, all Liberians, we are to blame for what happened to our country, which is why it is super important that we be the ones to actually repair the country and fix it. And so I do not sit here to throw finger to say that person destroyed this country, this person destroyed. We are there. And with that being said, though, a small country that went through this bloody civil war, years removed, here we are. Today, we are part of the Security Council. We are part of even though it is not a permanent seat, it is not a permanent seat, it's a non-permanent seat, but Liberia, the name Liberia is getting recognized yet again. Let me tell you something that actually happened. On June 3rd, something happened in our country that I'm super proud of, because everything in the country has become so polarized, political fashion. Like, exactly what's happening now today in the country. There's a tension growing up in the country. And I hope and pray that it does not amount to anything. But there's tension going on in the country with the recent arrests and all of these different things that's taking place in the country. Political polarization is very high in the country. And so I'm hoping that Liberia remains stable and things remain stable, and we will be stable. The country will not be destabilized. The country will remain stable. I'm really, really hoping that is the goal of all Liberians. Whether you are on one fashion or another, we are going to stay stable. Something happened June 3rd. On June 3rd, as the election was taking place in New York, people were watching this thing live. Liberians for every political party, they were watching this event live. And here is this little country called Liberia, and Liberia ran for that seat unopposed. So there was no other country in the region that was saying, no, I'm going to oppose Liberia. I'm going to fight Liberia for this seat. No other country were running. Liberia ran for that seat unopposed to be part of the United Nations Security Council non-permanent member seat. Liberia ran unopposed. Nobody was opposing Liberia. And so when Liberia got in there, now you have to look at what is really happening. In order for Liberia to be able to run unopposed and no one is actually fighting them for that particular seat, Liberia would have done some work in its geographical region. Right? Liberia would do some work. And this is where I want to really praise the foreign services in our country, the foreign affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. What they did a good job leading to this election. It is not every day that you hear that these people go out and they lobby and they're doing all of that. We don't hear that. But they would have actually sent people to these other different countries. Hey, man, I'm going to be running for this seat. Will you just clear the way so I can run? And the foreign ministry did a good job to actually lobby the region to make sure that these people are going to allow them to run, to give them the space, to give them the chance to actually run. And the foreign ministry, they deserve credit for this. They deserve credit. I don't care which political party you belong to. But this is a hard work that they did to make sure that they were able to lobby their neighbors. And I really like the strategy. This was a strategic plan. They started from within the region and worked their way outside. They did not just go to New York and start lobbying and say, hey, please vote for me, do this. They started with their region and they worked their way outside. And so there was a lot of work that went into this election. And when they got there to New York, and Liberia got, they got, I think, 181 votes. 181 votes. And from the president to some of the other, political leaders, the foreign ministry, and all of these people, they were watching this event as the votes were taking place. They were watching it live in Liberia. And after the votes were tallied, there were a lot of celebration in the country, a lot of jubilation, a lot of cheer, high fives, and all of these things were taking place in the country. Now, with that being said, what does this even mean? To be on the Security Council, non-permanent seat. What does that mean? Let us not forget history, right? This is not the first time Liberia have had this opportunity. I think the last time Liberia was in this particular opportunity was way back in 1964. 1964, Liberia had that opportunity, and so the Security Council is already there. But you see, when you look at the Security Council of the United Nations, it is one of those important branches. Out of the 6 branches of the United Nations, the Security Council is one of the most powerful ones. It has voice. And on that Security Council, you have 15 members. Think about it. I think we have 193 members, part of the United Nations. 193 nations, part of the United Nations. And so you have only 15 members who are part of the Security Council. Only 15 out of 193. You only have 15 on that Security Council. Now, out of that 15, you have 5 that are permanent members. That means these guys, they are grandfathered into it. There's nothing you can do to remove them. They are actually set. And there are some criteria that you have to meet to be able to just grandfather in. And if I were to ask you to guess the countries that are part of that permanent seat, you would name all 5 because you don't have to guess. The U.S., the United Nations, United States, number 1 there on our list. You have the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is another nation that have that permanent position on the Security Council. You have Russia. Russia is there. The other 2, you can name it, France, and then you have China. You're not going to leave the Chinese out. So you have these permanent 5 members of that Security Council. The other 10 members on that Security Council, they are just non-permanent members. That means they rotate. Maybe you go in there for 2 years. After 2 years, your time is out. They go and have an election to bring another group in. And so it is rotational. So after 64 years, you see Liberia is back in this position, this familiar position to be a member of the United Nations Security Council. And as a non-permanent member, though, there are some good and there are some bad. So I know we high five and we shake hands and we say, yes, Liberia is back on the Security Council. What does that mean? What does that even do for the country? Is it beneficial? Does the country benefit? Do we get certain things from the United Nations? I think one of the things that it gave us, let's look at it positive first. I want to stay on a positive lane. One of the things that it actually gives the country, it gave this country a diplomatic recognition. So our diplomats, all of the hard work that they have been doing in the past, or behind the scene to get Liberia to this particular point, they actually continue to do that work and look for more diplomatic exposure in on Liberia. So you have this diplomatic recognition. It is one of those things that actually comes out that people are going to look at, right? And because of that, You have this opportunity to be able, hopefully, if you can host. I don't know if Liberia will ever get to a place where she can host the Security Council meeting. But if Liberia can host the Security Council meeting, and you have all of these countries coming to your country, coming to that little West African nation to come for this big security event, man, that would say something. Because nobody's going to send delegates from Russia. Nobody's going to send delegates from the United States. Nobody's going to send delegates from France and all of these different countries without making sure that the security system is intact for that country. So that's one of the benefits Liberia could get. If Liberia were to host the Security Council meeting during her tenure, if Liberia said, look, we want to host and we can host it, bro, you can rest assured, man. No Zogo is going to be checking your water. They're going to be check. They will make sure that security is intact, and hopefully, Liberia can build on that to actually have an infrastructure to actually help her security system in the country. That is one good benefit. When it comes to the diplomatic side of things, our diplomats can now go and lobby with these other countries who are members of the Security Council, and maybe hopefully they can get some ideas on how to work with our security apparatus in our country to make the security system in the country better. I mean, there's an advantage of being part of the Security Council, right? Your country cannot be insecure and say you are a member of that Security Council. So hopefully it help beef up our security system in the country. That's one good thing that liberals tend to gain, to be part of this non-permanent seat. Another thing that we have is that increased influence. Liberia could be influential. If Liberia play her card right, she could be very influential to other members on that team. Again, it comes with this whole connection making, connecting with other countries, connecting with them, getting some ideas. How did you guys build your system? How, and getting all of those things. And Liberia's little vote, it may not be a veto power vote, but that little vote, it will mean something. Some countries now will come to you and say, hey, we are going to be voting. And look, I would love to have your vote. And Liberia can play her card and say, hey, I can give you my vote if you can give me this in return. That is the whole lobby thing. That's the strategy. That's the whole plan. So that's a benefit there for you as well. And you don't have to do this for 50 years. You don't have to do this forever. The fact that it is temporary, you are only having that temporary representation, you're only there for a little bit. You go and you do after 2 years or a year or so. After those 2 years are done, you get out. Another country come in and they do that thing. But within that 2 years, you have that open window that you can actually use your influence to be able to expose your country, to be able to lobby with other nations, to be able to actually build and work with other countries and see how well you can actually build up your security system in your country and get some diplomatic ties with other nations as well and benefit from that. That's just few of the benefits that Liberia tend to get from this particular recognition. But then we have to look at the downside of things, right? Why it is true that diplomatically, look, any chance you have to put your country on the global stage, I think it's a beautiful thing. You can do it because it brings recognition. It makes people to know who you are, and they will say, "Oh, Liberia, okay, yeah, Liberia." That is a good thing. But then, though, let's look at the downside. Your influence on our Security Council as a country that is, with non-permanent seat, your influence is very limited. You don't have, come on, you are not the United States. You are not member. You are not part of the top five that actually have that permanent seat. And because you are not part of that top five, your influence is very limited. You can only flex so much. You cannot waive your vote and say, look, I would do this if you do that with my vote. People may not even take you seriously, like what power you have to change the direction of anything. So your power, your influence is very limited. Members, you don't have the same power like the permanent members of that Security Council. And because of that limited power, you have to play your game really nice. You have to know when to flex your muscle. You have to know when to just fold and just sit and watch what's unfolding. When there's opportunity to benefit, you benefit. I think that is where our diplomats and other people come in. Another thing that you also is going to be a downside, there's a lack of the veto power. You cannot veto anything. You can't come and say, look, I am going to do A, B, and C and put my foot down. Who are you? There are 14 other countries ready to actually vote. If you were to stand up and say, look, I oppose this thing, I want to veto this particular thing, you can't do it. You don't have the power to veto anything. Right. And there are also there are some challenges as well when it comes to representing different interests. Those countries with permanent membership on the Security Council, they can pick and choose which interest they actually want to go ahead and just represent. But, as a non-member, you don't have that kind of power. So your power is limited. And that is why it is very wise to use them in accordance to, use them the right way. Don't overexert yourself. Don't overflex your muscle because you could be a laughing stock. No one take you seriously. Right. So let's just look at this simple example, for example, right? Russia is a permanent member on the Security Council. Now, with what's happening, when Russia goes out and attack her neighbor, Ukraine, there are other four members on the Security Council that are permanent. Russia is one, US, you have the United Kingdom, you also have France, and you have China. Now, of these five nations, the United States is saying, Russia, what are you doing is wrong. What are you doing is wrong. And if you don't stop it, we'll sanction you, we'll do A, B, and C. And then Russia is in the background, playing with the other four countries, or playing with the other three nations. Why, United States is actually blowing smoke and say, don't do this. Russia is talking to China, and China was like, buddy, I got you. I got you. So China playing its game very, very sneaky. China say, okay, this sanction, you don't have weapon, we'll give you something here in the back door. And then you have all these other countries, right? France came out and France said, oh, no, you have to stop. You have to stop. So Russia, the power is getting limited, right? You have the United States and France and the UK speak against them. So Russia is just Russia and China on the other side now. But even with that, though, Russia is still doing her thing. Russia is part of the Security Council, is a permanent member. No one have said we're going to revoke your vote to not be a permanent member on the Security Council anymore. No one has said that. And Russia is still a member of that Security Council. Now, with Liberia coming in, small country like Liberia, how big you are. That Liberia come in and say, Russia, you better stop that foolishness. I beg you, please. Don't let me talk my colloquial on you. And so basically, when you look at all of these things, Liberia coming into this non-permanent position, it is not a prominent position that would give us something, that would give us this power that we can actually take. But no, if we use our limited power wisely, we can get exposed diplomatically, we can get exposed and get some help from other security minded nations. And some of the things that we look at to be a security breach in our country, those things can be corrected. When we reach out to these neighbors, they will be able to help us. Because number one, we rubbing shoulder with each other. We are all on the same stage, if you will. Even though my power is limited, but we are still on the same stage. Does that make sense? That's the whole concept behind it. But now we have to come back, though, and just look at something that's happening. While we are talking about this Security Council, there are some nations or there are some groups that have been advocating that it is not fair for there to be anybody permanent on the Security Council altogether. Other groups have been debating this. They have been debating. Say, look, stop the permanency to the Security Council. The Security Council should be very fluid. If you want to keep membership for 2 years, We are not saying open it to all the countries, but open it to countries that are strategic in the security process. Open it to countries that we think are able to actually meet the requirement. But there should be no permanency on the Security Council. People are debating that, and the camps are divided. Other people are saying, look, if you go ahead and remove the permanency, then all the FLACA J countries will just come in and nothing good will happen with the Security Council. Nothing good. They will not meet that goal to meeting world peace, to make sure that countries do not just take advantage of each other. All of these things will not fall in place. But even with the permanency right now, though, I'm just going to ask, with the permanency right now, and you have people still doing their thing, and you have these powerful five nations as members of the permanent membership, we still see aggression around the world. We still see a lot of different things happening. Nothing have happened to stop these things from happening. And so that'll be a question for you to answer. Do you think any nation should actually have a permanent seat on the Security Council? Or should the Security Council be open, the United Nations Security Council be open to a rotational schedule? That way, if US, you hold that seat for 2 years, let's give it to Russia. Let's give it to the other country. Let's have election again. Let's bring all of these different people in, different countries. Because with diversity, with different mindset, you will see that maybe it might be good. It might be good. I know what part of the camp I am when you ask me. There always has to be structure, but I'm not going to influence you by my answer. And so I leave that to you to be able to answer. Do you think the United Nations Security Council, do you think it should have permanent members, or everybody should be non-permanent and actually be able to just work rotational schedule? Because if you make it non-permanent, that means countries are going to, they're going to have incentive to actually do the right thing, right? Because tomorrow, if they are not permanent on there, they know that sanction, all of these different things could be a serious thing coming to those countries. But again, like I said, I'll leave it with you to look at that. In the African region, West, North, South, East, in the African region, we don't have any one country. Now let's just look at the African continent. We don't have any country that is part of that permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. There is not a single country that is on that seat. You have the United States, that's North America. You have China, that's Asia. You have France, that's Europe. And we got two countries from Europe there. We got the United Kingdom also over there. And then, of course, you have France as well. So all of these countries, it just seems like France is dominating here. Not France, but Europe is dominating here. So you got two representation from Europe. That's France and that's the United Kingdom. And then you have two nations. I want to also go ahead and throw Russia in Asia, in the Asian continent. So you have Russia and China. They are in an Asian group, and then you just have the let's say yes, the US in North America. So you have all of these countries, and there is not a single representation from the continent of Africa. And this is where things get fuzzy. Because guys, I don't know. I don't know how everybody else here feel. I don't know those of you who are watching how you feel about what I'm about to say. Okay? But when you look at Africa, Africa have benefited the whole world. Africa have benefited all the other continents. Because people come in, they take our resources and they bring it out. People come in and they take what they want, whether it's right now in my poor little country, Liberia. I'm sorry. The Chinese are dominating everywhere now. Okay? They are members of the Security Council. Don't forget that. They are dominating everywhere. Construction, mining, they are dominating everywhere. And there was a video that just came out, I think a month or so ago, where a Chinese national and one of our representative represented Anders, and this Chinese guy, they got into it, and everybody was divided. Like, oh, the representative shouldn't have touched the Chinese, and the Chinese guy was there just saying some things that my representative would not even dare say to a Chinese national in their legislature, in their house. But this fellow was disrespecting our legislator, and apparently our legislature was not supposed to do anything. And so basically, I want us to kind of look at it. Africa has blessed and continue to bless the rest of the world. Most of our resources is Africa. If we decide today, we say, look, we're not sending you our raw materials. Prices in this country will go higher up. Prices will go way up in this country and other parts of the world. Most of the raw materials that people are using to produce these things that come to stores, or they're coming from Africa. Africa has blessed the whole world. But yet there is not a single representation from the continent of Africa to be on the United Nations Security Council. Hey, they have allowed us to have, I think, 2 Secretary General for the United Nations. I think the last one was from Ghana. I think one came from Egypt as well. Yes, we have been represented there, but not a member on the Security Council for Africa. Is it strategic? Is there a hidden agenda? Is there something behind it? 2 countries in Africa, they dare to actually say, look, we want representation. We want to be on that Security Council. We want a permanent seat. The campaign, and you know the result. Nothing happened. They didn't get it. And those 2 countries in Africa that actually tried to be on the permanent seat of the Security Council, and these are countries that, in our right, would say they are powerful countries in Africa. Nigeria, South Africa. Those 2 countries, they campaign. They want to be permanent on the Security Council. Why did they not get it? It's an infrastructure issue. It's an infrastructure issue. And most of this stuff, right, guys, when we talk about it, we have to start thinking. Basically, I love the whole idea of us thinking things through. Don't let people do the thinking for you. That's why sometimes I can enjoy Yeke. Because Yeke will ask the question and say, are you talking for me? I'm talking for myself. Like your mouth I'm using my mouth. And so basically, you do your own thinking. If someone say, look, we'll come and take all your raw material and take it out. But yet, no, we don't want you to be part of that Security Council, because they understand something that we don't get. They understand something we don't get. And so when you look at it, Africa, we still getting the elbow. So every 2 years or so, they will go around and say, oh, yeah, we'll bring a country. Liberia is not the only African country that have been part of the non-permanent Security Council. I think Algeria was there. I think even Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone also served in that position. They would just make us happy, and it just like, okay, we'll bring you in. We'll bring you. This time, Liberia ran on polls. I think that's what made it very historic. On a polls, and you have all 181 votes, go to Liberia. Nobody stopped Liberia. You want to take it. Because they know your vote doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean nothing. But Liberia, you be very strategic in how you handle the 2026-2027 term, because you could be very strategic and use that opportunity as an opportunity to strengthen your diplomatic ties with other countries and with other nations, and you learn something that you can bring back to benefit your country. We'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned, and I will be right back as we continue this discussion on Liberia's role on the United Nations Security Council. Stay tuned.
Oh, hail Liberia, hail. Oh, hail Liberia, hail. This glorious land of liberty shall long be ours.
All right, guys, welcome back to the broadcast. Again, I said thank you so much for joining us. This is Liberia Sharais. I'm your host today, Augustine Sharif, and I am discussing, Liberia's recent election to the United Nations Security Council, and I think we have gone through some of the benefits Liberia stand to get, and some of the disadvantage Liberia actually has as a member of as a non-permanent member on the United Nations. And we also kind of talk about this whole concept of is it even necessary for us to have permanent members? I know exactly where I stand, but I'm not going to influence your thought on that because your thought on that is super important as well. And when I look at my sweet little country, Liberia, yes, I'm celebrating, I'm happy, but this is not Liberia's first rodeo. Like I said, back in 1964, Liberia was here. And so it is not our first rodeo, but this one is different. And I think what I really like is the fact that our diplomatic corps, our guys from the foreign services, for the foreign ministry, they did such a good job to lobby in the region, to lobby that particular area, that Liberia was able to run for this particular seat unopposed. That means nobody was stopping Liberia. They said, look, Liberia, if you want to go for it, by all means, go for it. And it made it very historic. 181 votes all went for Liberia. Very historic. And I'm really hoping, as I sit here and I celebrate that and I clap for the diplomatic services, as I do that, I'm also hoping and praying that our diplomats do not fall asleep. Those that are going to be on the Security Council, they don't fall asleep, but they will use this opportunity to be an opportunity to actually be able to network, to expose Liberia a little bit more, give Liberia a little bit more exposure, and make Liberia's voice on that Security Council, even though it's a limited voice, make it a powerful one. Liberia, you go and make the case why it is super important. And while you are doing that, Liberia, you also want to go ahead and do the very thing that we hope you will do, that is strengthen your own security structure, strengthen your own security apparatus in the country to make sure that you are not just a laughing stock. Because how can you be a member of the Security Council and your country is not secure, your borders are not secure? And so that is my hope. That is what I'm hoping we actually take from this. That is what I'm hoping that Liberia benefit from in this particular segment. And before we took our break, I was also kind of discussing the lack of permanency from the African continent. There is not a single African nation that is on that permanent seat. And if you are just joining me, I will go back again, give you a top, the five. On the Security Council, you got 15 members. 15. Out of 193 countries, you got 15 on our Security Council. That makes that council very powerful. It's a very strong council, very powerful arm of the United Nations. Out of that 15 nation, you only have 5 permanent members. So these guys are grandfather in. It's like if you're in the States, you got AT&T or you got T-Mobile, whatever your network service is. If for some reason they want to increase that price, but the fact that you were part of that particular low plan before they want to increase it, they grandfather you in. They put you at that particular list. So look, we lock your price in. We're not going to change it. That's how most of these countries who are on a permanent seat, they are locked in. They're not getting out. They are locked in. Until there is a change in policy, those countries are locked in. You have the United States. You have France. You have China. You have Russia. You have the United Kingdom. And all of I love the question my brother Gibson is asking. Is the United Nations ever effective? My brother, it depends who you ask. Because there are some countries that have actually benefited from the United Nations. Honestly. There are some countries, in my opinion, that have benefited from the United Nations. And I don't even want to sit here and say Liberia itself has not benefited. We've benefited. But when it comes to effectiveness, it depends who you ask. When it comes to World Health, the World Health Organization, you have all of these different arms of the United Nations. I think our young girls in our country, they benefited from UNESCO, they benefited from all of these different. So yes, in some capacity, I think the United Nations have been very effective. They have help where help is needed. But when it comes to, are there biases that we have to address? Brother Gibson, I think that's a real question there. Because little country like that's why I'm really discussing this whole concept today. We are clapping our hand and say, "Oh yeah, Liberia is on the Security Council." But what does that even mean for us? What does that mean? What benefit do we get? Are they going to come and beef up our security system and make Liberia one of the strongest or safest countries in West Africa? I don't know. We don't. That's not part of the drill. That's not something we're getting from there. And so the way I'm looking at this is the same way they have done us in the past. They take oil, I mean, they eat take our palm oil and send it overseas. They produce all of the lotion, all of the cocoa butter lotion, and we buy it. Our girls then fight for it. They stay in line, they buy it. But they never build factories for us in our country. They take our latex, our rubber, they send it overseas. And they produce that tires, they produce plastic bed, they produce rubber band, all of these different things that come from the latex product. They build everything overseas. They send it back to us, and then we buy it from them. We buy it from them. You understand what I'm saying? We buy it from them. They never build the factories in Liberia to produce those things. And that's exactly how I am looking at this Security Council thing. They just gave you something to make you happy. To say, "Oh yeah, Liberia, you're part of this." Make you happy. To make you happy. But do you even have a voice to say, "Fine"? To say, "Let's sanction Russia"? Do you have a voice? Do you have a voice to say, "Let's talk about what's happening in Israel and between the Israeli and the Palestinians"? Do you have a voice? What can you say that will be taken seriously on our Security Council? Yeah, we can celebrate and be happy about your preferment. I'm happy about it. It gave my country exposure, but I don't want my diplomats. I don't want people who are on that Security Council to walk around, because I know us. Guys, me, I'm talking my own. Nobody twisting my arm. I'm talking today like Yeke. I'm not using anybody's mouth. I'm using my own mouth. Okay? Talking my own. Nobody, I know our Liberian brothers. They put you on our Security Council, they bring you to New York, and you're sitting there, you get your AC that blowing in your car, and you have your kosu, you go into work every day, whatever time you're meeting, now you think you arrive. You think you arrive, and you forget the purpose, you forget the goal for which you are there. I don't want that to be the case. I want, because this particular term that Liberia got elected for is the 2026-2027 term. You go there, you know your time is short. Before you blink your eye, your time is over. That's why they do it. You are not able to implement a goal. That's why in Liberia or in other parts of the world, we have 4 or 5 or 6 years term for the presidency. Because 1 or 2 years is not enough to implement an agenda. You take your seat. By the time you get all your cabinet in place, you're already gone 6 or 7 months. When are you going to be able to do anything? When are you going to be able to do anything? Look, Brother Roger, I like your point. We don't want to be just another 40 arm for another country. But Brother Roger, that's exactly what I'm saying. Our brothers or sisters that will be on the Security Council, they might be manipulated to be a voting bloc for other countries, because they don't want to vote. And that is what I'm saying. Don't waste your vote. If Russia or these other big countries come to you and say, "Look, man, we have this big Security Council meeting coming up, and this is what I'm asking, I could use it," they will lobby you for your vote because they want you to vote for them. There are only 15 members on that Security Council. 15. The top 5, the permanent 5, they don't like each other anyway. So I'm not even going to lie to you. They don't like each other. If they leave for the United States alone, Russia is going to be out there. China is going to be out there. They don't like each other. So they will be coming to these non-permanent members, the floor members down here. They will be coming to you and say, "Hey, vote for me. Vote for me. Let me be the head of this council. Let me do A, B, and C." And that is where Liberia can be very strategic and play her card very well and get something in return. Don't just go because you feel intimidated. that a big country like Russia, a stronger economy like Russia, a stronger economy like the United States come to you and then you feel intimidated and say like, oh man, no, 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 don't do that, go about your thing. Don't do that, go about your thing. Go there and be very serious, be very strategic, and get something in return for Liberia. Don't waste the vote. Don't just be there and they say all in favor of this and you put your hand up and say aye. No, 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 no. No, when you oppose, you better be a voice. When you oppose it, oppose it. Be strong. You can be the minority, but be strong and stand up for a principle. Let Liberia be recognized for that. Because at least I'll be watching the news and say, oh, Liberia opposed A, B, and C. I'll be, aha, that's my country. I love it. Let your voice mean something. Don't just go and waste your vote. Don't get fooled by that Tesla they're going to give you when you get to New York to be part of that. And they give you all of these Cadillac Escalade and you're driving around with your coat suit on. And now you feel like you big boy or you big Jew. Don't do it. We'll send people over there that will actually represent the country and do the country right. And do the country right. And again, I'm going to go back to the whole concept and ask this question. What does it benefit my Wata and my Miata and selling a Kobo on the street? You will not see any tangible. You will not see any time. It's not going to fix the potholes. It's not going to fix that road from Morovia to Rawafie. It's not going to fix it. It's not going to fix it. It's not going to make the prices of goods and services to drop. Your US rate will still be high. I'm sorry, but that's true. The US rate will still be high. KK will still be plying the street. Traffic rule will still be messed up. But if you do your due diligence and you are very strategic, the country will receive diplomatic connection. These same countries are coming to you now. If the US come to you and say, look, man, we have this election coming on the Security Council. I would love to have your vote. Come on, remember me, US, we have this connection. And that's when the history started to come out. That's when they try to remind you that don't forget, like during the United States, we have this historic ties because they want something from you. That's when all of the connections start to come out. That is the time that you, our diplomats, you play our card. You have your card in your hand and say, look, this is what I can do. Dr. Positive, welcome to the school, to the show, my brother. You know, and you say, this is what I can do. I know you want this thing from me, but I tell you what, I want you to remember, since we gave you Firestone, you build one factory in that place that we can look at and see what benefit from.
Yeah,
so Dr. Positive, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in because I asked my question. You even look, I don't know whether you answered my question already, but
sorry.
I just wanted to add a few things. They said actually, according to Google, I didn't read it online, but Google said if you become a member of the Security Council, your country gets visibility, not only visibility, but you also get more foreign aid. More foreign aid come to your country because you are on that list. So let's pray to God that works for Liberia, right? Because we are on a Security Council, that Liberia get more money. But my fear for this is, let's say Liberia is on a Security Council now, and Liberia, the person that's supposed to vote for Liberia, or the person that represents Liberia on a Security Council, doesn't like what is happening in Israel, like you said, and they decide to vote, against the U.S., for example.
Mm-hmm.
And the U.S. is the one that gives most of the foreign aid, right? Now, will Liberia be endangering itself by voting against the number one superpower, or even on the opposite, voting against Russia? What do we do? Vote against Russia or vote against China? So that's the thing. That's my question to you. Since you're the research scientist on this.
But here's the thing, though. No, thank you for bringing that point. You know, you get the exposure. That exposure is great for the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for Liberia. And that's why I keep bringing it back. We get it, and we got to take advantage of it to make ourselves better. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
The foreign aid that we're talking about, it depends who's the president. I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't want the puppy to block. I mean, pack my bag, save me tomorrow.
Yeah. But you're saying good thing about him, so he'll be fine.
It depends who the president is.
Uh-huh.
You know, since the puppy came in, puppy not caught a lot of the stuff. He caught a lot of things. And I know a lot of people in my country today who are not working, who used to they were working for foreign services, they were working for the international NGOs, and all of they are gone. So the
Mhm.
foreign aid that we're talking about,
Mhm.
we have to see exactly what that looks like. But to go to your question though, yes, there's always going to be a give and take when it comes to voting against these big economic countries, right? When it comes to
Mhm.
voting against Russia, Russia is making a lot of leeway in Africa.
Yeah.
They're moving around. They're moving like a little octopus in Africa. They
Mhm.
get stronger in Africa. China is not wasting time. China is moving with speed. I mean, I went to Liberia. I was surprised to see the many events and many activities China is overtaking in the country, not just in Liberia, but in other parts of Africa. China
Yeah.
is the
Mhm.
United States, they shoot themselves in the leg by actually removing some of the foreign services or the foreign program we're doing. So
Mhm.
they are backing up. And so, yes, there's going to be that risk. But that is because there's that risk, Dr. Positive. That is why I was saying, you, the person who's going to be casting that vote, you use your vote as a power and you lobby with these other countries. If China comes, you entertain them and say, look, I will have dinner with you. We'll sit and talk.
Mhm.
And I will tell you exactly what I expect. I'm not selling my vote, though. I'm not doing go by your thing. We're not selling it. But I am negotiating with you. You give me something, I will give you something. China, if you
Mhm.
can promise me that my road from Rawalpindi Airport all the way to Monrovia, you can finish it. You can finish it in this particular month. And let
Mhm.
us go ahead and start that project. While we're doing it, hey, if you are the best bet on my list, the US don't want to give me anything, Russia won't give me anything, and China say I will fix your road for you and take it all the way to the executive mansion. I would negotiate that. And that is
Mhm.
why we need strong negotiators in those areas.
Yeah. All right. So again, it comes to the person who holds the position, how valuable they see the position is, right?
Yeah.
How valuable they see the position, because if the person there don't see the position as valuable as a leverage, then it becomes something where they just chop from everybody, because where somebody's supposed to be taking a big position and do something bigger for your country, and you let them give you some pocket change and you satisfy with that, then that doesn't benefit Liberia in any way, because even like they said, you get more foreign aid, but foreign aid usually have to be seek. You have to reach out to countries and ask for foreign aid. So if our country don't know what to look for, right, to seek foreign aid and things, then it impacts us in a way, then we don't really benefit from getting on this the Security Council.
Yeah, but just like the way I started the show, Dr. Positive, I'm super encouraged by what I think our foreign ministry did.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they were able to lobby the other region and talk to these other countries and say, look, man, we're going for this seat. That means whether it is our foreign minister, Ms. Besolo, whether it is president, in my joyful heart, I think
Mm-hmm.
somebody behind the scene have actually sat and thought about this, and they thought about the
Okay.
benefit that they want to gain. That is why they put all of that energy in there and say, look, let's lobby with these people. And if they were able to negotiate to tell the other countries to get out so they can run and they succeeded, that means they got some strong negotiators that will be able to do the same. And
So I
so,
was saying in the background quickly. I said so that's why they were dancing, because they know the benefit. They don't know were dancing. That's why. So yeah, let me go
exactly.
in the background so you can end your show, brother. I just wanted to say my point. Yeah,
I
but thank you.
appreciate you, man. I appreciate you coming on. Well,
Mhm.
as I was like what I was saying to Dr. Positive, somebody have sat down, they have thought about the benefit. They have thought about the foreign aid. They have thought about the economic benefit. They have thought about the security benefit that it could bring to the country. And Liberia, in her own region in West Africa, she could be taken seriously now by other countries. Look, I mean, for all these other countries to just come and just vote for Liberia without opposing, and for the other, whether they were a permanent member or non permanent, to accept this, they look around and say, you know what? they have given Liberia some consideration. They look around and say, a lot of good things have happened in this country. Yes, the civil war took place in the country. Yes, the country is still healing. Yes, A, B, and C is taking has happened in the country. Yet and still, they look around and they see how tumultuous elections can be in Africa and other parts of the world. And they sat back and they just witnessed, they just watch us have one of the best elections in Africa in years. They saw the transition of power, how peaceful our transition of power was from President Weah to now President Joseph Boakai. They look at those things and say, wow, if Liberia can do it, that means Liberia is really, really on course for higher security, for higher peace in the country, and just making sure that things work out the way it should work out. And so they look at all of these things. I'm sure serious countries took that into consideration. And so Liberia will be recognized for that. They will look at us and say that this is a serious country, this is exactly what they want, and they can be looked at as a symbol of peace, and Liberia could be invited to any of these other African countries because now Liberia is rubbing shoulder with them, with the Security Council. The insight that they take from these big guns on the Security Council, hopefully that translates into our country and we'll benefit from it. And friends, at the end of it all, like I was talking to Dr. Paul today before I came live, at the end of it all, our platform here is called Liberia Shall Rise. We did not just choose that name because it sounds good. We did not just say Liberia shall rise or Liberia will rise. We did not just choose that because it sounds catchy. We chose that name because we truly believe that Liberia has all of the pieces she needs to be able to bring our country together and to bring our country back on the global stage, that we will be taken seriously, that other countries in Africa will look at us as a symbol of stability, a symbol of peace, a symbol of seriousness, a nation of economic development, like we used to be. And if, friends, we all put our little pieces together, bring our little ideas, and we put all of that on that table, that will be, and only then, Liberia indeed will rise. Until then, friends, I want to say again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. Thank you for spending some of your afternoon with us. And to our friends in Liberia, sorry that we couldn't be on the radio this afternoon, but hopefully at some point in time, we will have this rebroadcast on the radio station in Monrovia. Stay safe and God bless each and every one of you guys.